What's up guys, it's TheGearChange here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be installing a RS oil cooler on the XR5. Bought it about a week or so ago, but it's been pretty hot here and pretty humid, so I haven't had the time to actually move the car. As you guys can kind of see from where I am, the car is not here, it's in there, which is technically a garage. It's like a spare room. But yeah, anyway, so just thought I'd record the outro before I actually get stuck into it and potentially get a lot of sort of oil or coolant all over the place. So yeah, this should be a worthwhile upgrade. I think it was something I wanted to do earlier, but I think it's good that I'm doing it now since I've actually tuned the car. But yeah, I'm not sure what will be next. Hopefully a AirTech Plenum in Performance Blue. I think that would be pretty sweet. But yeah, so gonna chuck this baby on and I'll show you guys how to do it and sort of what tools I'm using, and yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit when I start putting it on. Alright, so I'm here in the spare room or garage sort of area. As you guys can see, it was once a garage and then got converted to a room by the previous owner of the house, but never mind that. If you guys have watched the channel, you will know that I've done oil changes and lots of other stuff with the XR5 in here, even the intercooler install and stuff like that, so got to make do with what you have. And this is everything I've pretty much got for the job. So obviously the RS oil cooler that I got from Focus on Performance. I just picked up some silicone grease from Super Cheap Auto just to kind of hold these little O-rings in place so they don't fall off. I'll probably only need like a little dab just to kind of hold them in place before I bolt this back up. I also just got some engine oil since it was on sale. It's damn expensive really. But yeah, and then I've also got some coolant as well in case I need to top it up. And then yeah, I've got my sockets, a flathead screwdriver. I bought a bunch of different picks in different sizes. Got to make sure I'm careful as well because they're not exactly blunt, they're quite sharp, so don't want to pierce any of the hoses. Got all my little sort of Torx bits and little sort of socket sets with a little ratchet and gloves. And then I got these off of, I think it was Amazon. It was quite cheap to get them off Amazon. So they're basically, I think, coolant clamps or just hose clamps of some sort. So I want to try these out and hopefully they work the way they're intended. So I've got 3 different sizes and 2 each, so it should be enough to get the job done. But yeah, I guess I'll get to it and show you guys how to take the old one off, and then we'll chuck the new one on. Alright, so I apologize for the crappy camera angle, but yeah, as some of you guys know, I do not have too much space here, so it's a bit crammed, but it's not too bad. So first thing you're going to want to do is obviously take off the under tray or skid plate. So I have a little hand ratchet with a Torx bit 25. So just going to take the tray off, and then I'll have access to the factory oil cooler, and I reckon after that I'll probably have to clamp it and then obviously undo the bolts and go from there. So make sure you do have a little bit of spare engine oil if you do, because I believe you lose, from what I've looked up, about 200 or 250 mils of the engine oil. So yeah, make sure you got a bit of that sort of lying around, and maybe even a little bit of coolant just in case. So yeah, I'll take this off now and I'll show you guys what to do next. Alright, so I'm here under the car, got the sump there, and here is the factory oil cooler. I apologize if my filming is not the best. It is a little hard to hold this Insta360, but to be honest, it's pretty nimble. So I've basically clamped the 2 coolant hoses. The softest part on this sort of, let me move the camera up a bit, top one here is up the back, so that's where I've done it. And then this one seems to be quite squishy here at the front. So yeah, basically just clamp them off. And I have, I think it's a Torx 40 bit here. Got it here in like a little ratchet, so I'm going to tilt the camera so it doesn't look silly. Yeah, I'm going to try and take it off carefully and drain the little bit of oil that's sort of fed through here. So I've got like a drip tray or whatever, and then I'll obviously take the hoses off carefully. I'll probably have to use like a pick, which I showed you guys before, to kind of lever it off because it'll be on there quite tight from factory. So I will carefully undo the sump now and see how it goes. Alright, so with a bit of fiddling around, I have managed to crank this bolt right here. I don't know if you guys can see it, hopefully you can. It's a bit hard for me to kind of get the camera where I want to under here, just with like the lack of space, but hopefully you guys can see exactly what I mean. So I'm just going to obviously take these bolts out one by one. I'm going to try and go diagonal, or from this bottom left to bottom right. Depends on how much space I truly have. So I'm going to put it on like a time-lapse mode and kind of just show you guys how I'm going to do it. So again, it's a bit hard for space, but I should be able to get it off, and then I'll obviously take these off as well with my socket that I've got here. So yeah, I'll get to it. Alright, so yeah, safe to say this is not a fun job. I have loosened this bottom left one, and I've got the one on the top right. I don't know if you guys can see it, probably not, it's a bit hard. Yeah, lack of room is a big issue because I've kind of left everything where it is. You know, I don't have a hoist and whatnot, so a bit tricky, but I'm just gonna undo it all, see what drains out of the sump here. Hopefully it's only a little bit of oil, it's only meant to be a little bit, and then I'll focus on the actual coolant hoses themselves. They look to be in pretty good condition for their age. Doesn't seem like there's too much wear and tear, so I'm just praying only a little bit of coolant can come out, and then I'll clamp them even tighter, and then I will focus on obviously taking this one off and lining up the new one after I give it like a bit of a clean and put the new O-rings on. So it shouldn't be too bad, but yeah, it's just a bit tiring on your back, even for someone like me who's only 20 years old. So yeah, I'll unloosen it and I'll make sure I drain whatever's in there, and I'll take it off and show you guys the difference between the two. Alright, so I've got all the bolts out bar this one. So I'm just gonna carefully take this last fella out, and then we'll take her off. Now I'm hoping that this gives me some more leeway and or room. Seems like it's stuck on there actually. Jeez, it really is stuck on there, eh? Oh. As I said, I don't have a whole lot of space, so it's hard for me to kind of turn around and move. Well, I need to basically upside down now, but it's alright. Let me make sure the tray's there. That is all the bolts. I'm confused on why it's not. Oh, there we go. Yep, there we go. Oh, is that a bit closer? Move it over. Right. Okay, a bit louder than I thought it would be. So, to my knowledge, I have to do an oil change soon. I did have a few of my mates say, hey, wouldn't you just do the oil change while you're doing this? And yes, I did think about that, but I'm trying to base it off like kilometers or distance traveled. Car only just hit 94,000 the other day, so you know, I mean, I guess for a car this old it's not too bad in terms of kilometers, but yeah, I don't know, everyone seems to kind of have a different opinion on how often to do an oil change. I'm trying to do it every, I think, 5,000, just to sort of be extra careful with it, but yeah, so once I've cleaned this up, I'll have to top it up, but yeah, I've got new oil as you guys saw, so I'll probably end up doing another oil change in the next month, 2 months, once I sort of hit that 95,000 K mark, if I do that much distance in that amount of time. But yeah, I thought this was probably the best way to do it, was to take this off first, and then obviously do the coolant hoses. So yeah, it's going to be a bit tricky to sort of get the new one on, obviously, because it's less space again, and it's a lot bigger. I think this has 9 coils, correct me if I'm wrong, and the new one has 13. So it'll be obviously a lot bigger, and hopefully, you know, keep it cool. That's the whole point, and by getting an RS oil cooler. But yeah, so that's off now. I'll let that drip, I'll give it a bit of a clean, and then I'll obviously have to take the hoses off here. So I'll have to try and get the socket on there, and also on this one, which is a bit another sort of silly spot, but you can't really see it with the hose here in the way. But I'll try my best to kind of video it and show you guys, because you know, a lot of you who potentially have an XR5 and want to attempt this job at home obviously want to know how to do it from a perspective of someone who doesn't have a hoist or, you know, whatnot. So I'll try my best to kind of get the camera angles that I can with the 360. So yeah, I'll give this a clean now, and I will show you once I've taken these off. So I'll do that now. Alright, so I've got the Insta360 on a little sort of smaller stand. I've cleaned up most of the oil out of the sump. You can't really see it, or you might be able to there. It's a little bit bright, but I'll have to give it a proper wipe down. So I've got my coolant clamps on, so I'm obviously going to work with this one first because it's easier. I've got a 6mm socket, which is what I was using to take the Torx bits off with. So it's basically just a matter of loosening the actual clamps. I thought that, is that loosening or tightening it? Jesus, I don't know. I believe it's loosening it. It's a bit hard to sort of swing it in here. Yeah, it's loosening it, definitely. It's pulling its way through. I just realised you guys can't see what the hell I'm doing. Oops. My apologies. Oh, the magnet, yeah. Now, I don't know how hard this is going to be to actually get the hose off. It could be easy, it could be a pain. It might piss coolant everywhere and ruin my entire day. I think that'll be enough. I don't want to over loosen it, but yeah, it's going to be on there a bit tight, isn't it? See if I can. Is that like proper loose? Yeah, that's pretty loose. Yes, that's very loose.
You couldn't put a bit of WD-40 to get it.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I should do that or water. Let me rotate once again. Oh, lack of space. Like, it doesn't just. If I move this out the way, of course, so I'll push this up. So I have to be careful, but I'll just move it here maybe. Or can I do it further back? Hold up. Or is that too stiff? No, that'll do. Bit tight, but gives me some more sort of working room. Might have to move this down a bit. I'll cut to when I've actually got this one off, and then I'll show you guys the other one. Alright, so with a little bit of difficulty, and I know it's probably cut from where I was before, I did manage to get the factory cooler off. The hose that was this side for the coolant hose wasn't too bad. I managed to get it off with a flathead and be pretty safe. This one was a little bit more tricky. I had to come from a different angle over that way and kind of push it forward and up. So yeah, basically that's the old cooler there, as you can see. And then obviously this one is far bigger and newer. So did lose a little bit of coolant. You know, I bought these clamps with the intention that hopefully I wouldn't lose too much. And I didn't lose, you know, heaps, but I lost a fair bit, so I'll have to obviously get some coolant today and top it up. But the goal now is basically to get this new one on, put the new O-rings in, and yeah, probably get the hoses on before I then bolt it up. So yeah, it's a little bit difficult to truly sort of capture what I'm doing underneath the car, but I'm doing my best. So I'll get to it when I'm back under the car and putting this on. Alright, so I have got the new cooler on. In regards to the O-rings, my factory ones were fine, but I decided to get some new ones from Jamie at OEMs and Idle Focus on Performance when I bought the cooler, just in case the other ones wear out due to age or anything like that. And I used some of the super cheap auto silicone grease just to kind of hold them in place. Just used a small amount just to kind of hold them there, because they tend to drop out of where they sit up and in here. So I've got them sitting in there, made sure it was flush, and then I basically tightened all of the bolts so it's on there quite well. Had to get a new clamp for this hose, as it seemed to be sort of like, I wouldn't say worn out, but it just didn't have much tension on it, so I got like a new clamp there. So pretty much just got to top the engine oil up. I think I need about 200 mils, 250 mils, so I'll put a little bit of engine oil in. As I said to you guys yesterday, I did lose a little bit of coolant, so I'll have to obviously put some coolant in the car, so I got some spare yesterday as well. And yeah, so I'll get to that now, and I will see you guys in a bit when I've topped it all up and see how the car's running. Alright, so hopefully the wind noise isn't too bad. I have got the car out of the spare room. This is the day after the install. Taken it for a little drive, made sure everything was okay, checked the oil level with the dipstick, and also checked the coolant level, because as I said to you guys, I had to sort of top it up and whatnot. So yeah, the car is running well. I haven't noticed any crazy changes, but it does seem to be running a bit cooler, so that's, you know, the main thing, especially since I'm pushing a bit more power. Not too sure if I'm going to go for like XRS as in like the next step with injectors. I think before that I'd like to get like a block mod done, and maybe even a AirTech plenum, probably in blue to match the car. I'd probably spice up the engine bay a little bit. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this helps some of you out. I did try my best to kind of get every camera angle I could to make it easy to follow. So yeah, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.